Hello everyone, this is Yuti Doshi from One Mantra Mental Health. Welcome to another episode of Sunday Stories. Today we have with us a very special person and I'm so happy to have you, Shalmali. Her name is Shalmali Jadhav. She is from Kolhapur and she currently resides in Mumbai. She is 21 years old, but the list of achievements that she has, I literally am reading about her and telling you what all she has done till now for mental health awareness. And I'm really, really humbled and happy to have you with me today. Uh,
Thank you so
so,
much for having me. It's my pleasure to be here, and definitely we're gonna reveal a lot of things that I've done till now as we move forward in the interview. So yeah, definitely thank you so much for having me.
yes, thank you. So, I will just say a few very important things about you and then we can move ahead. I'm sorry, I'm
Okay.
reading, but I have to read. Um, Shalmali is chosen as a member of International Youth Council by the United Nations, and now she is representing the Indian subcontinent. So, there should be drum rolls for this.
Thank you so much.
Secondly, she is also a passionate change maker and she has been awarded as a change maker by youthlead.org.
Yeah, yeah.
And she's also been invited as a keynote speaker to many schools and colleges and institutions. And one very important thing I would really like to mention is she has applied to the government for including SEL, social and emotional learning as a subject to be included in our academics in schools and colleges. Shalmali, this as mental health professionals, this is something that we dream of, only dream of, and you are actually making that happen. You're actually trying to make that change happen. I really appreciate you for this, and I really want to clap for what you're doing. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you so
doing
much.
whatever you are doing, really. So please tell us something more
Thank
about
you.
yourself. I really want to know what all you are doing.
All right. So basically, whatever I'm doing right now, it basically, started when I was in 12th standard. Because in 12th standard, when a close friend of mine, she went through depression, and I saw her closely taking all the medications and the therapy sessions that she used to attend.
Hmm.
And this is something to be surprised of, but this is true. At in my 12th standard, I wasn't even aware of the term mental health. I wasn't even knowing what depression is. And when I tried to find the reason behind that, I understood that okay, there's the stigma and the taboo that revolves around the term mental health. And no one, nor my parents, nor my elder siblings, no one in the family, no one in the society wants to talk about it. And then I realized somewhere that she might not be the only one who is facing this problem, but there might be a lot of youngsters and teenagers out there who might be going through the same problem. And at that time I felt somewhere that I need to do something for that. And that is how basically Empathy for You started. So when I started, Empathy for You was basically a kind of peer support group. So I used to be there, and people who just want to vent out, who just want to share their feelings, who just want someone to be there and support them, I used to be that kind of support for those people. And that is how initially 1 year I worked, and that was the work that we were doing earlier. And here also one more thing, I've been fond of writing, since my 12th standard itself. I had blogs. I worked as freelance content writer for, a handful of organizations. And at that time, when I started Empathy for You, everyone is like talk about mental health to spread awareness, to break the stigma. But I thought that writing can also be one of the ways to kind of be a support, and just kind of spread awareness and just be vulnerable. So I thought, why not write letters to the people who are going through difficult times. And when I say going through difficult times, it doesn't mean that you have to have a mental health illness, or you have to go through depression or any other thing. So it's just those who are going through difficult times. And when I started Empathy for You, I started doing this. I started writing letters. I used to write one letter every day. Sometimes it's used to be 5 to 6 also. And at the end of the month, I used to collect all these letters and post them to the people who are fighting depression or basically going through difficult times. Or, they are supposed to be the people who, approached me for the peer support group kind of thing.
I am
So,
getting
that,
goosebumps, literally goosebumps. I mean, this is so such a wonderful thing, such a wonderful gesture that you're doing, Shalmali. Really, this is amazing.
yeah. And that was a one man army task back then, because I was the only one who was working. And
Right.
I was just finding, I was very aware, like, why am I doing this, but I was not aware of how I need to do this. Because when I started Empathy for You, it was just a peer support group, but I was still finding out a way, like, how my organization needs to work, and what should I do in order to reach maximum people, and to enroll maximum people in this movement of spreading awareness and breaking the stigma. So, I took some online courses, I did a lot of research, I brainstormed ideas, I got into, contact with some of the mentors in this field who have a great expertise. And after that, I finally decided a path, how Empathy for You is going to work. And now, finally, we are carrying out our work in three ways. So, first of all, we do is online counseling. We have a few psychologists and therapists on the board, and we provide therapy sessions. The second thing we do is letter writing, the one that I told you, letters of empathy. So every month we are accepting letters from the people, and we're posting them out to all those people, those who approach us for online counseling. And the third thing we do is peer advocacy. So we basically collaborate with schools and colleges, and we conduct lectures over mental health, why is it important, and yeah. So this is the work that we are carrying out basically.
Wow. I want to just take a few seconds and absorb all of that because doing it single handedly and working for a cause takes a lot of courage, especially at this age when you are supposed to decide about your career and earning money and things like that. Doing that side by side, having this passion is really something that I appreciate, Shalmali. Today, the topic that we really want to touch upon is mental health in youth, young people, and why it is so important for young people to be conscious, to be aware of their mental health state, right? The state of their mental health. So please tell us something about that.
All right. So it's something like we are also youth, and we are also a part of them, and we are readily, informed about why we need to take care of our mental health, because that is what we are doing every day. So first of all, the first thing that comes in hand is social media. We are so much, into social media, into scrolling through our mobile phones, into Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp. We are so much, driven towards that. Like, you sometimes start getting the social media anxiety that, okay, if I open Instagram, there's one friend who has started a new venture, there's another one who has started a new business. And, you start getting that pressure that, okay, I'm not doing anything. Because this is what is happening. I'm getting a lot of, DMs, and some of them are calling and saying, okay, what should I do next? She has started this, and my parents are putting a pressure upon me. Even I'm feeling pressurized about, I'm not doing anything. So that is one of the things I feel. And this is the impact that social media has done upon us, has upon us. And I feel here, something called social media anxiety that comes along with what we are doing every day on our mobile phones. The second, I really feel like we are living in 21st century, and in this era of transiency, I feel like we are so much nagged into a rat race where we are constantly proving ourselves ahead of others. So there's a kind of competitive atmosphere around us always, and everyone will agree to this. Might be in your family also, because my parents always have this race between me and my younger sibling. So this is what's going on. And of course that's a healthy competition, but if you do it in your professional life, if you do in your might be anywhere in the workplace, but this is what is happening. And third thing I feel is the me first attitude that is coming between us.
Hmm.
Like, you will not disagree with that, because I feel like that is the that is somewhere leading to kind of detachment. between our close ones and us, and that is, somewhere leading to loss of empathy. So I feel like these are some of the, prime reasons. I feel like here somewhere your mental health comes in picture, and you should really do something to, take care of that.
Right. I just want to add to what you said about the me first attitude. I
Yeah.
think people are taking this new concept of self love. They are misunderstanding it some way, and it has been hyped
Yes.
to another level
So much.
that
Yeah.
it has turned into me first. It's not me. Self love is not
Mhm.
me first, right?
Yeah.
So I think
Self love is, somewhere turning into self obsession. And there's a very thin line that passes between self love and self obsession. And, we really need to understand that. There's, very different definition that has been perceived by, the young people out there about self love. And, that self love is kind of turning into self obsession, which is not really very good. Whereas if you look at self love, that is something that we really need to imbibe, and that is really we need to work, because there's hardly any time that we keep for ourselves. There's hardly any, time, or you can say, some habits that we have kept for ourselves, where you're just being there with yourself, where you're just spending time with yourself. So I feel like, you are, it's really very nice to stand for yourselves. It's really very nice to fight for yourselves. But I also feel like, there's a thin line that passes between, a thin boundary that passes between, your self love and self obsession. And I feel like that is somewhere missing, that is somewhere getting blurred, and that is somewhere leading from self love to self obsession.
that's so right. While you were speaking, what came to my mind was youth, people of your age and my age, early 20s, late 20s. Um,
Yeah.
Most of them are working
Hmm.
population. And during this time of a pandemic where people are supposed to be at home or travel very less,
Hmm. Hmm.
managing being at home and working, for some of them, it might not be a healthy family environment. And
Yeah.
so I'm sure it is very challenging to be working at the same time also be with your family in the same space. So
Hmm.
what are the common issues according to you in youth when it comes to this particular topic?
All right. So yeah, I totally agree what you said, because since the month of March, when lockdown has started, there has been a 360-degree shift change in our routines and our lives, and we are now getting used to getting back to a new normal. But still, it's like we are having a lot of them who are working from home. And when it's working from home, I feel like that boundary between your work time and between your family time or your personal time is somewhere getting lost, because as you at your home, you don't really keep that sense, okay, now this is my work time, now it's over, and I have to just be free. Because I'm seeing my sister who is working from home. She's just she earlier, her office timings used to be 6, but now just she's just on a laptop working till 8:30. And it's a tradition at a home, like we have to take a dinner together, but we never see her on a dinner table together, because she's always working in her room. And this is what is happening. So that boundary is getting lost somewhere between your work time and your personal time. And I feel this is leading, might be lead to a lot of problems, like not spending time with your family, or just not talking down. Because I would love to ask you a question here, like when was the last time you actually sat with your parents or your grandparents and you had a heart to heart conversation with them? And in turn, this also comes to me, because this is very rarely that we do. As a youth, we rarely find time for people at our home, and we rarely find time for ourselves. We are just constantly into something, like um, and yeah, that is what I feel. And the second thing that I feel is, I guess, Yuti, it's
Yes,
muted.
yes, yes. So I just
Yeah.
want to add here something. When you said, when was the last time you have had a discussion with your parents? Earlier, when we were going out of the house regularly, The reason was that we are busy and we are going out. And now that we are
Oh.
all this time together, now that is the reason that, okay, we are all the time together. What's the need to talk? I think we need to really look inside and think about this, honestly. Having a
Yeah.
heart to heart conversation at least once in a week or once in 15 days with your family over dinner or over snack time, anything.
Yeah.
It is so important.
Because as everyone is aware that your physical body and mind, they're together, and if you want to take care of your mental health, you obviously have to take care of your physical health too. And in the same way, it totally depends upon your relationships also. So connecting with your family, connecting with your friends is really very important. And I don't mean to say that you have to go out, you have to be in your friend circle, which is not very safe these days. But technology is a blessing, internet is a blessing for all of us. Just try to connect with a friend you haven't made in last few days, or just sit down with your parents, sit down with your grandparents, have a conversation with them. These are the very few things, very small things in our life that we can totally reflect upon, and that is somewhere missing out, specifically in the youth. If we want to be relaxed, if we want to be happy, or if you want to just get away, take a break from your work or something, your studies, we what we do is we just find we'll find some resort in the hill station or in the mountains, and we'll go there, and just to be, yeah, and just to be calm and relaxed. But these are little things in life. If you want to be calm and relaxed, just grab your coffee and just go on your terrace and watch sunset. This is one of the kind of, just to be calm and relaxed. That is what I recommend, because that is what I follow whenever I have time. I'll just go and be there with nature, or just take a piece of paper and just start scribbling on a paper. This is also one of the things to be calm and relaxed. So we have somewhere lost that thing of enjoying little things. But I'm pretty sure this lockdown might have taught you the importance of being grateful and gratitude and not taking things for granted. So I feel like everyone might have taken a lesson from the lockdown regarding at least this.
Hmm.
And yes, again, when it comes to managing between or balancing between this, your personal and your professional life, I also feel like when you're doing this, when you're taking care of your family, when you're also being there constantly for your co-workers, for your colleagues, I also feel like there should be some time that you spend with yourself also. And here, it's really very important to connect with yourself from time to time and just peek inside your mind and understand, okay, this is what is going on inside, and this is what I'm going through, this is what I'm feeling, and just acknowledging what you are feeling. When you acknowledge, you are actually finding a way for that. What happens sometimes, it's if you're feeling low, if you're feeling sad, we just try to ignore that, we just try to avoid that. And that is not the way how you acknowledge your emotions. You need to just find a healthy distraction for that. You need to
Escaping,
experience what's going
yeah,
on inside.
escaping is not the
Yeah.
solution. You have to someday or the other face
Yes.
what you are feeling and confront the discomfort. Maybe it must be with your family members also. You might not be feeling comfortable, but one day or the other,
Yeah.
if you think today, yaar, chodo, kya magaj mari, what, why to waste time in arguing? It will pile up, and then you have to confront. It will take a big form, and it might turn into a fight some
Yes.
other day. So it's better you express as
Yes.
much as you can, right? So these are
Yeah.
some really good tips that you have given. I would just rephrase whatever you said. One is taking time out for yourself.
Mhm.
Do
Yeah.
something that calms your mind. It could be scribbling on a paper, or just going on the terrace, or taking a walk down in your building if that's allowed, or doing whatever makes you happy at least for 5 minutes, or just do nothing. That is all. That also works, right?
Yes.
Have a conversation with your family members, not only with the ones who you are very close to, but everyone. Try building a rapport. That will also give you a little bit change, and talk about your feelings. If, if there are any negative
Yes.
feelings, if you feel angry at someone, and anger is something that will come out because we have been stuck in our houses from 3, 4 months. So initially it was all family time and quality time, and we are loving it. But I am sure after
Mhm.
2 months it has changed, and we need to face it.
Yes.
And it's okay. I think it's okay to accept that there is going to be friction, and we have to address that friction. That's it. They are, after all, your family, and they are always going to be with you. So that is one thing.
Yes.
And one more thing I wanted to ask is, what is one advice that you want to give our generation, our people, whoever is watching this video, about mental health, apart from the tips, something that you really like, um, uh, gathering all the information that I got from you, gathering that how you have come to this point where you have spoken at national level, international level. You have experienced a friend going through depression. You have come up with empathy for you. Such a beautiful NGO, the work that you are doing. I want to know from your experience that as a young person who is in the stage of life
Hmm.
where deciding about your career, family, responsibilities, and knowing the best for yourself. Between all of this, um, I want to know, what would you like to tell people who are also going through the same stage as you are? What would you like to tell them when it comes to mental health?
Yes. So, I feel it's really important for us to, as a community, to talk about mental health in order to, reduce the stigma and spread awareness about that. And with the recent incident that happened of Sushant Singh Rajput, there was everyone suddenly talking about mental health. Like, I didn't really understand. Does it take a suicide for us to talk about mental health? Why can't we do it every day? And having said that, that you have to talk about mental health every day, I mean to say that you have to start it with your own, from your own family. You have to start it from your own friend circle, and that is how you're going to contribute towards spreading awareness and breaking the stigma.
Yeah.
Because when you are telling people, when you're just I even at my case, it's not like that I'm just talking on social media about spreading awareness and that and this. People at my home, they call me the Maka doctor, though I'm not, but they call me the Maka doctor. And I've been so vulnerable, talking about this, like how my friend went through depression and how I saw her doing this, and whatever experiences that I've come across. This is how you are going to be a contribution towards spreading awareness and breaking the stigma. And I really feel like I would love to tell everyone out there that tomorrow or today, when you just walk out with a thought that there's no distinction or there's no difference between your physical health and your mental health. Like, very easily we say that, okay, I'm having an appointment with a doctor, okay, I'm going to go see my dentist. But very rarely we say that, okay, I have a session with my therapist. And this is where a social distinction in the society comes in picture. So I really feel like ignoring your mental health or ignoring your physical health is not going to help you. Neither is going to help you, but you have to take care of both equally. And it's really very important because, considering the urban lifestyle of India, considering the changing lifestyle of however we are living, whatever work we are doing, however we are being with our families, it's really very important to teach everyone, and it's really very important for everyone to understand that there's something called mental health, there's something called mind, and you really need to take care of that every day, just like you do for your health, just like you do for your physical body. We really take a shower every day, we eat every day. Why do we do that? We are just taking care of ourselves. And mental health, mind is also one of the body part, and we also need to nurture it every day. So I really feel like it's high time that people understand, okay, there's something called as mental health also, there's something called as mind also, and we really start taking care of that too. So yeah.
Yes. So I think what you said about how we take care of our physical hygiene every day, mental hygiene would be just talking about what you feel. I think we can at least, that could be a first step about um, sharing how we are feeling. That's a very simple thing. I know it might be difficult for quite a few people, it's not easy for everyone, but at least we can try. And yes, thank you, Shalmali. Uh, Thank you so much for contributing your experiences. And I
Mhm.
hope everybody who is doing this, I hope they take a step forward for their own mental health. And if you want to receive letters, I think you can always contact Shalmali for that. Right, Shalmali?
Yeah.
I mean, can they also send
Yeah,
it?
sure. If you want to receive letters, and plus if you want to, write letters for the people, you can definitely do that, because every month we are accepting submissions of letters. You can just go to our link in bio and you can, just write down your letter over there. Or if you have a handwritten letter, you can just click a picture of that and you can send us, because right now we are just accepting digital letters, because even now it's not possible to, send out or post out letters to the people. So we are just doing it via mails. So we are doing it digitally since last few months. So yeah, definitely you can, be a part of, leading with empathy, and you can definitely send out your letters of empathy. And we would really be happy to share them to the people who need it. Definitely.
Yes, thank you so much. So everyone, if you feel like writing letters, you can contact Shalmali. If you want to receive letters, you can contact Shalmali. And if you ever want to talk about anything, if you feel that, sometimes it happens that psychologists, some people find it a little weird to talk to therapists still, which is, I mean, okay, but you can contact, I mean, her. She is a young person, and I'm sure she's so much open to talk about anything. So please DM her. Empathy for You is her profile, and I will be sharing all the details also. That's it. So thank you so much, Shalmini, for joining us, and I'm really happy to have.
I would definitely, thank you, Yuti, for, just reaching out and, wanting to have me, because it's really my pleasure, going to places and talking about mental health, because that is one of the part of movement that we are totally working for, spreading awareness and just talking about it in order to, initiate conversations and dialogues in order to break the stigma. So, this was also one of the part of the movement that we are currently doing and we are currently working for. Are just the aim is to enroll maximum people, and in whatever ways, maybe through workshops. We are doing it through workshops also, we are doing it through seminars also, the interviews that happen. So might be through any medium, but just the motto is to spread awareness and enroll maximum people and tell them about what mental health is and how do they need to take care of their mental health. So thank you so much for having me, thank you so much for reaching out, and it was my pleasure talking about you, and thank you for being such a lovely host. I really love you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shalmini. Okay.